Chapter 1: The New Horizon Beyond the Material Map. The horizontal boundaries of earthly property and sovereignty are permanently locked. Modern centralized states have completely mapped every square meter of physical land. They enforce rigid titles, environmental regulations, and immutable tax codes inside this atomic prison. If a global land reform or sudden overnight territory redistribution decree is synchronized tomorrow, your entire multi-generational land inheritance is instantly vulnerable within the state's visible grid. The public assumes that owning vast tracts of remote land provides permanent insulation from political panics, guaranteed indefinitely by established property laws and national legal systems on the surface. But behind heavily classified quantum metric simulation laboratories, the 0.1% see a complete structural cage. They see a world where material geography and linear land data are entirely mapped for expropriation. They realize that keeping absolute capital within standard atomic boundaries means sharing the inevitable systemic collapse of resources. The hyper-elite refuse to allow their institutional longevity to be intercepted by decaying territorial courts. They are actively engineering their complete departure from conventional three-dimensional maps in material space by constructing private autonomous enclaves that utilize non-material quantum fields and isolated metrics to decouple from global geography. These extreme points in isolated microspace offer absolute detachment from Earth-bound geographical and political intervention, creating a permanent cosmic coordination anchorage that requires no planet-bound legal compliance to function. This is the rise of the quantum vacuum inflation territorial acquisition, the final frontier of possession, where theoretical cosmology is transformed into an exclusive, dynastic land title asset class. Those who control the mechanisms of inflation dictate the terms of ultimate dynastic survival. The horizontal constraints of global physical boundaries are being rendered completely obsolete, replaced by an unyielding vertical matrix, operating entirely outside international telecommunication codes. The escape of absolute intelligence is instant, non-material, and permanently unreachable by default. Chapter 2: The Infrastructure of Quantum Singularity Bottling. To maintain an independent sovereign civilization, the sanctuary demands absolute physical invulnerability, an unyielding cryptographic medium, capable of outrunning central bank algorithms across endless generations. Traditional silicon servers and satellite laser arrays are dismissed by the elite as primitive tools. They are highly vulnerable to localized cyber warfare and state-level physical hardware overrides. To eliminate this risk, the enclave utilizes private advanced quantum vacuum inflation grids. These gargantuan arrays are engineered across hundreds of kilometers of sterile dark graphene and polished titanium, surrounding the entire habitat, to constantly capture and stabilize volatile inflationary energy bursts, converting these high-energy quantum states into uninterceptable, high-density private territory metrics. Specialized localized metric compensation cores maintain perfect synchronization during extreme spatial shifts, ensuring that the internal databases and transaction history of the habitat remain completely uninterrupted. Thick multi-layered carbon fiber hulls utilize advanced metric engineering to shield the delicate sensors, preventing hardware degradation associated with intense, uneven localized geographical drag gradients. The infrastructure inside these private technological domes is continuously managed by automated networks. Every single terabit of sovereign data and system density is balanced by artificial intelligence. When surface nations suffer under sudden land confiscation decrees and state-controlled geographical network blackouts, These private inflationary sanctuaries remain perfectly synchronized through the non-material mechanics of quantum territory. By establishing absolute control over their own metric medium, the elite conquer all geography. The private quantum channel becomes the ultimate vessel of dynastic land longevity, sustaining human territorial records and immutable ledger databases through millions of planetary cycles. Chapter 3: The Intangible Sovereign Ledger and Inflated Space Cryptography. Physical sovereignty in the deep void is incomplete without complete computational autonomy. A trustless digital coordination framework, programmed to protect the empire without territorial bureaucracy. Traditional cloud mainframes and national quantum centers are highly vulnerable to localized state raids. They cannot be trusted to protect a dynasty's operational keys across global conflicts. To eliminate this structural risk, the secession utilizes completely autonomous inflated space, cryptographic fields, decentralized subatomic computer nodes, execute continuous, immutable smart contracts ahead of material surveillance. These algorithms are hard-coded with advanced theoretical protocols to transfer wealth across immense cosmic gaps, automatically routing dark assets and executing trades on Earth. Through uninterceptable inflated states, the private digital wealth is shielded behind unbreakable, phase-locked quantum inflation encryption keys. No terrestrial government, central bank, or regulatory agency can ever trace these codes. The subatomic processing platform autonomously coordinates private kinetic defense arrays, deploying automated interceptor vessels to neutralize any unauthorized deep space corporate reconnaissance drones. Every operational cost and structural maintenance fee is cleared through private non-material wallets, operating entirely outside the jurisdiction of earthly financial intelligence units and banking grids. The entire technological infrastructure becomes an immortal, self-defending, timeless informational fortress, an artificial intelligence matrix designed to maintain the data purity of absolute masters, securing the legacy of the elite against the constant systemic decay of surface civilizations. Chapter 4: The Automated Closed Loop and Subatomic Self-Sufficiency. To achieve total isolation, the enclave requires complete material and energetic self-reliance, the automated production of high-density processing power, and pristine hardware components within holes. Yet industrial manufacturing chains on Earth are deeply dependent on vulnerable raw material access. They are highly susceptible to regional resource nationalism and state-controlled maritime shipping restrictions. To eliminate this vulnerability, the elite build automated asteroid capture fabrication loops. These rotating facilities utilize molecular manufacturing, calibrated to print hyper-dense computing architectures, delivering optimal processing nodes directly to the sanctuary's mainframe. Through automated quantum systems, powered continuously by the habitat's central collectors, and localized micro-singularity batteries, autonomous robotic arms and subatomic sensors manage the entire fabrication cycle without human presence, harvesting raw space minerals and pure carbon structures. Under completely automated conditions, energy is harvested from nearby vacuum fluctuations and filtered through advanced field barriers. This ultra-pure power is stored in titanium cells, layered with protective electromagnetic shields, ensuring that the private sanctuary remains independent of Earth's depleted resource pools. No industrial collapses or infrastructure failures on the surface can touch this network. This is not an experimental laboratory designed for public scientific advancement or academic education. It is a highly calculated monopoly on automated, sovereign informational self-preservation. By decoupling entirely from the terrestrial geographical biosphere, absolute capital achieves absolute immortality, protecting the financial coordination of the 0.1% from baseline political decay. Chapter 5: The Post-Material Era and the Inflationary Divide. The completion of the private sanctuary establishes the final, permanent division of the human species, a barrier built not merely on economic class, but on the fundamental definition of geography. The general public is condemned to remain on the monitored, decaying terrestrial surface, trapped within an energy-starved world, ruled by aggressive state surveillance and land confiscations, while the 0.1% secure their coordination networks inside an inflated space fortress, completely immune to the gravity of planetary revolutions and the authoritarian collapse of nations. They have successfully decoupled from the shared geographical destiny of the human species. The political and philosophical implications of this inflationary divide are absolute. When absolute wealth owns its own definition of soil, geographical metric, and defensive arrays, power is no longer temporary, and capital is no longer subject to state-level confiscation. The elite no longer require a cooperative public society to protect their dynastic continuity. The exit gateways of these inflated space fortresses are already operating completely silently. Their exact space-time coordinates are highly classified and defended by unbribable automated networks. The age of the public internet and linear planetary governance is rapidly closing, replaced by an unyielding cosmic matrix of private empires operating at the edge of physics. Subscribe to future Prism Lab for the hidden mechanics of wealth.